Welcome back to another interview with Rightsy. We are here at TA Tech 2023 in Austin, Texas. We actually have one of the executives from TA Tech here with us today, Mr. Steven. How are you, brother?
Good to see you.
Yes.
Very good to be here.
You too.
I say very good to be here. I have to be here. For you, it's a choice. It's optional.
You know, for those that don't know who you are and what you do and what TA Tech is, please let the world know.
Well, so as you mentioned, I helped to organise the event today with Peter Weddle, who's the CEO of TA Tech. And TA Tech is a membership organisation dedicated to technology companies in the talent acquisition space. So everything from job boards to ATSs, applicant tracking systems, if you didn't know, to all the vertical softwares and platforms that go together to helping to identify where candidates are, attract candidates, get them into the hiring process, and propel them through the hiring process to become a new hire with an employer. All of those technologies, and the reason that we have these events is so that these companies, which ordinarily can be seen to be working in silos, are able to much more obviously collaborate with each other and integrate with each other, because the employers are all about building a tech stack of different pieces of kit that deliver what they want, and they need them to be able to talk to each other. And not only that, but these days, in 2023, there's no way you can predict the future. It used to be companies would have a 5-year plan. We're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to expand, we're going to go into new territories and so on. And you can't think in 5 years. You can barely think in 5 minutes these days. But more than ever, what companies need to know is, well, what is everyone else doing? What do we need to be paying attention to, and how can we partner with other companies to be stronger to weather the storm?
And that's what TA Tech does, is bring all those people together in order to make those deals happen.
Yeah.
You know, and connect. You know, TA Tech is important for us because we came here last year, our first time.
Yep. Philippines.
We did exactly, and we had no real product, and well, we were working on it, but it wasn't out, and we had no funding. And now 1 year later, we've been, you know, putting our nose to the grindstone, working hard, and now we're the Deal Center sponsor. You know? So we love TA Tech. You know, what makes TA Tech special? You know, from some of the other conferences.
So I've been an attendee and occasional organizer of other sponsors over the years. Other events over the years, and almost all events that I've been to, and there are some fantastic ones like Unleash, for example.
Okay.
They're all facing towards the customer. And at Unleash, you'll have lots of TA people in the room. At SHRM events, you'll have huge numbers of HR people in the room.
Sure.
And the technology companies who come along and look to show their wares, they are there to make appointments, make deals, and get customers, which is great. But they never get a chance to speak with each other, to work out the lie of the land, the landscape, and to appreciate how they can be, you know, working with each other. So in those environments, they rely on accidental networking. They might bump into each other, they might have a dinner afterwards or a beer and so on. And that's all well and good.
Bean.
Or a jelly bean. But what we like to do, frankly, is to do it on purpose. You know, we know that that's one of the most important things that companies coming to events, tech companies are looking for. So we've set the scene for people to do it on purpose. So the Deal Center that you're sponsoring, to give you some stats, we've got an app now that feeds us back the numbers. And up until this morning, and it'll be more now, but up until this morning, we had over 1,500 interactions with each other. So these are people networking with each other, making appointments, chatting back and forward and so on. There were around 800 requests for meetings, and all but 150 of them had been accepted. So the 150 at that time were pending, waiting for people to accept the meetings. And right now in the Deal Center, we've got hundreds of people meeting with each other for the first time, making connections that you made last year.
Yes.
And moving their businesses a bit further forward. It's often the case you come to an event like this, and you know in advance that say someone from Indeed's going to be here, or someone from, you know, Rob Brewer from Job Rapido. And you think, if I could just get a conversation with that guy, or if I could speak with someone who has money to invest, who knows this industry, then that would really help me take a step forward. And the thing about people who are running companies in this space and have been doing it for a while, usually they're successful. They know the industry much more intimately. They've got a few bob to spend. They could invest, they could mentor, and they could partner with new companies coming in. And they see themselves in those new companies. Also, there's a bit of FOMO involved because, say you're an established job board owner.
Yes.
You've been in the job board space for a long time. And it's an interesting, even fascinating business to be in. But you're seeing a lot of the young, new, cutting edge technology companies coming in, and you think, you know, I'd be really interested, and I could really do something to help these guys. So you might have a bit of cash to invest. You certainly have a lot of expertise.
Makes sense.
And you absolutely have a lot of contacts. So you can take a company like that under your wing and be part of their story.
It's amazing. How long have you guys been doing TA Tech for?
This is the 16th year. So initially it was just job boards, and then of course aggregators, and then programmatic advertising companies, and then all the other tech companies. But yeah, 16 years.
Wow! And you've been doing it with Peter since the beginning?
I've been involved with TA Tech for maybe about 5 years now.
Okay.
But
you've been in the recruitment space pretty much your whole life?
Since 1987.
Oh wow!
So that's when resumes were in Latin.
Okay. And what is one thing that was better back then than it is now? Because the opposite is pretty much what that question is. But what's different about back then than now that was a good thing?
So back then things were a lot slower.
Okay.
This is pre-email, never mind pre-internet, and you'd be lucky if you had a fax machine in the office to fax a copy of someone's resume to a client, and everything was much slower. Just because it couldn't be any faster. But what that meant was that you did have more time with clients, with hiring managers, with candidates that you're interviewing. All of those things, you had more time to get involved with those people, and it was by design, well, by default, a very human process. A lot of the technologies that have come up in the past 30 years are great solutions to problems that needed answering. But in the past half of that time, maybe 10, 15 years, a lot of technologies have appeared to actually remedy problems that were created by the previous technologies.
Right.
So I used to own and run recruitment agencies.
Okay.
And people would talk about recruitment agencies as being the parasite on the flea on the dog, because we're very much a kind of meta business, and there'd even be recruitment companies that were recruitment to recruitment. They only recruited recruiters for other agencies.
Right.
And again, what are they? Smaller than the parasite. But my point is that you had as a frontline recruiter, you had an overview of the marketplace that you covered. And my sector was plastic injection molding. Everyone's got to have a niche. That was mine. So injection molding was mine, and I made that my own. A recruiter today has the same aim, but has a more difficult time of it because of course you can't just be saying, well, I recruit in one state in the US,
sure,
or even just in the US, because there are so many roles that you might be handling in, I don't know, New York or Delaware or California,
wherever.
And the people that can be hired for those jobs today can literally be anywhere in the world. So it's more commonly they're in the same time zone, but there are so many jobs where the individuals that are being hired for those roles could be, on a beach in Madagascar, which would be nice. But
that would be nice.
So long as you've got good internet connection, then so the pool of candidates that you want to find and attract,
sure,
are much further flung, and the tools that you need to identify who and where they are need to be up to the task. It's a trickier business now, but if you're switched on to the kind of technologies that are out there, you can organize that data in a way that makes you unique as a recruiter. And if you're working directly for an employer that can find the most, I was going to say, people often talk about rock star hires, and I don't think every job requires a rock star, but finding the most appropriate hire.
Definitely one that can play the bass.
Yeah.
Right? As that supporting role, to the rock stars, right? So
yeah, you need someone
point.
who can take it to the bridge.
Or under the bridge.
Yeah.
But no, that's awesome. I love what you guys are doing here at TA Tech. It's incredible. You know, what are some things that you're excited most about in this space as a whole, like over the next year?
So there's never a quiet day in this sector. There's never a dull moment, and the personalities in the space are fascinating. So I'm clearly not a recruiter anymore, but I'm very much a people person. And you would think in the technology space that there's no room for people persons, people. But there are some amazing characters doing great things, and if you can set aside that your kind of fan boy, you know, looking at someone who's had astronomical success, and just have the ability to go up and speak to them, usually they're nice as pie. They'll share their story. Yeah. They'll tell you what they know, and they'll give you encouragement on what you can do, not necessarily to emulate them, but to make your own path. So there's never a dull moment in this sector, and to an extent, TA Tech is a mirror to the industry. What we want to do is reflect back what the industry is, and if we can give that picture not only of our members and to our members, but to the wider technology community, then you know our job is never done. But that's part and parcel of our job. What we've got coming up later this year is TA Tech Europe. So TA Tech Europe is in. Nice. So that's going to be in London, in the Carisbrooke Hall in Marble Arch in London on the 5th and 6th of December. December this year. It's going to be the same format as here, same 2-day event, and at the end of it we'll have the National Online Recruitment Awards, which I also run. So there'll be a much more continental flavour, if you like. There are lots of companies here from all over the world, from Australia, from Europe and so on. But what we'll see in TA Tech Europe are that cluster of companies who won't necessarily have come here, but are very, very busy. And a lot of them are really unique in what they do.
Well, you heard it first. I wanted to let you know that there's never a dull moment in this industry. And hold on, I sound like Hamza, but I sound like Hamza from Pakistan. But my uncle, my Uncle Stephen.
You're drifting into Jamaican.
There he is. I'm drifting into Jamaican. And my Uncle Stephen, he always says that there's never a dull moment in this industry. And for that, I want to say thank you. But I really do appreciate it.
If I was the sort of person that would get offended.
Right? No, he wouldn't. But for those that need to, or for those that have context, I've been speaking like this, and I speak a lot of different accents, and he's been trying to help me with my Scottish accent. But the problem is he keeps telling me that I'm leaning more Jamaican and Pakistani than I am Scottish.
Yeah.
So there's context. It's not like I'm just making fun of the guy. You know what I'm saying?
I do think so. I think if you've spent any more than a certain amount of time in New York, then your accent is locked in.
I could do New York because I mean my family's from there and they talk like this, and you know they're Italians and they're from the shore and from Jersey.
Get out of here, you bum.
Get out of here. You know what I mean? Forget about it. But you know that's the thing. It's easier to talk like you're from New York than it is to talk like you're from Scotland.
Bada bing.
But anyways, I really appreciate you, Stephen. You're always a breath of fresh air. You always bring humor to everything that you do, and you're kind of like a jack of all trades because you've been in recruitment, you've been in business, you've been in event planning, but then like you also do production.
Okay,
you fly drones.
A little bit.
You do like all these things, so it's like it's really cool to see someone like yourself who's kind of a jack of all trades, master of many. And
I was wondering where you were going to go there. Usually it's master of none. Mediocre in all areas.
Yeah. Well, I like to say, instead of being a jack of all trades, I'm a king of all trades.
Oh, okay.
So, but thank you, Stephen. And we really appreciate this. And this is another interview with Rightsy, the Deal Center sponsor for TA Tech 2023 in Austin. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Really good to have you.
Good to have you here.